he's breathing. You can see everyone else's flaws, but not your own.
It's true then.
I was going to tell you. You must go to him and admit that you were wrong.
You admit when you're wrong, Mama.
I don't need to. I'm never wrong.
Did you ever think one ball could change everything? After weeks of tension, rivalry, and secrets bubbling beneath the surface, the Gilded Age. Season 3 is closing with a finale that's as breathtaking as it is brutal. My Mind Is Made Up doesn't just wrap up stories, it explodes them. Bertha's grand ball isn't just a social event, it's a declaration of war. And the fallout? Let's just say, not everyone will walk away unscathed. From the moment Season 3 began, one thing was certain. Everything was building toward this. The ball, the showdown, the moment when Bertha Russell would either solidify her place in New York society or burn every bridge in the process. And now, the night is finally here. The setup to Episode 8 has been long, meticulous, and filled with power plays, especially between Bertha and Mrs. Astor. And as the ball begins, it's clear. Bertha's not backing down. She's done with begging for acceptance. This is her world now, or so she thinks. Bertha's decision to finalize the guest list without Mrs. Astor's approval is not a mistake. It's a message. She's letting everyone know that she's not just another social climber. She's ready to control the entire game. And when those gilded doors open and guests begin to arrive, it's impossible to ignore the tension crackling in the air. Behind every smile and every compliment is a jab, a threat, a power struggle disguised as polite conversation. This isn't just a party, it's a battlefield. But while Bertha is focused on winning the social war, others are quietly falling apart. Marion, still shaken by the events of the season, is trying to figure out where she stands. After so many personal struggles and disappointments, she's reached a crossroads. Moving forward isn't just about love or career, it's about finally making choices for herself. And in this finale, we begin to see the first hints of that transformation. But is she ready for the consequences that come with independence? Then there's Oscar. Oh, Oscar. Perhaps no other character's arc this season has carried such tragic weight. In the earlier episodes, his charm masked deeper desperation, and now, as the finale unfolds, we see just how fragile his world truly is. His attempt to reconnect with a former ally may look like strategy on the surface, but underneath, it's heartbreak. Oscar's position in society, his reputation, his secret life, they're all crashing into each other. And what the writers have hinted at for weeks? It's finally coming to light, and it's devastating. Meanwhile, in a much quieter corner of the story, Dr. Kirkland faces a decision regarding Peggy that feels small compared to the lavish chaos of the ball, but emotionally it's huge. The threads of their relationship have been quietly stitched throughout the season, and now they're being pulled tight. Will he stand by Peggy in the face of the social risks? Or will he retreat like so many others when things get complicated? Their story might not steal headlines like Bertha's, but it's one of the most grounded and emotional in the show. And in this episode, it finally gets the attention it deserves. But back to the ball, because as glamorous as it is, there's no denying the danger simmering beneath the surface. Bertha has taken a massive risk in going against Mrs. Astor. The entire structure of old money society is built on unspoken rules and carefully managed reputations. And Bertha? She just smashed through them with velvet gloves. The question is, will she rise from this night as the queen of the new age, or will the gatekeepers of the past crush her rebellion? As guests whisper in corners and alliances shift right before our eyes, the weight of every choice Bertha's made becomes clear. She didn't just plan an event, she staged a takeover. But the cost? That remains to be seen. And with whispers of a shocking cliffhanger looming, the stakes have never been higher. As the ball roars into motion, the glittering chandeliers above the dance floor cast more than just light. They cast shadows. And in those shadows, secrets fester. Bertha Russell may be smiling for the crowd, commanding the attention of every major player in New York high society. But beneath that polished surface, she's fighting a war that no one else dares to name. This is more than just a party. This is revenge, vindication, a final test of dominance between the old money elite and the fierce force of the new. And yet, as triumphant as Bertha appears, the cracks are already forming. The tension between Bertha and Mrs. Astor isn't just personal anymore, it's symbolic. It's two eras battling for control of America's most powerful circles. Mrs. Astor represents a fading world that's desperately trying to hold on to its rules, its rituals, and its superiority. Bertha, on the other hand, has money, vision, and fearlessness, but lacks lineage. So what does she do? She outspends, outshines, and outmaneuvers her rivals. She floods the room with opulence. Every detail of the ball, the gowns, the music, the guests, screams ambition. But ambition this loud always demands a toll. And tonight, Bertha may just find out what that toll is. Some guests smile, but their eyes betray hesitation. Others whisper in corners, calculating which side they'll take when the dust settles. One woman's display of power has left everyone questioning where their loyalty lies. It's Bertha's night, no doubt. But is it a celebration or the beginning of a downfall? Because when you challenge someone like Mrs. Astor, you don't get to walk away untouched. That's not how New York works. And while all eyes are on Bertha, Oscar Van Ryn is quietly spiraling. His interactions at the ball aren't the charming, confident ones we're used to. They're desperate. He's clutching at fragments of his former self, trying to maintain his facade. But there's something off, something hollow behind the smirk. The truth is, Oscar has spent the entire season barely holding his life together with lies, and now, in the cold light of the ballroom, those lies are beginning to unravel. He tries to reconnect with an old friend, perhaps hoping to recover some semblance of power or love, but it's too late. The walls are closing in, and what happens next might just redefine everything we thought we knew about him. Meanwhile, Marion's presence at the ball is noticeably different. She's not there to impress. She's not there to climb the social ladder or gain favor. No, this time she's simply observing, learning, letting the chaos unfold around her. And what's so compelling about her arc is that after so many episodes of being pushed and pulled by other people's expectations, she's finally starting to push back. You can see it in her silence, in the way she watches Bertha, Mrs. Astor, and even her own family. There's a strength forming in her, one that could change her path forever if she chooses to embrace it. Peggy, too, finds herself confronting hard truths. The emotional weight she carries throughout this season reaches a peak here, not through some grand speech or public confrontation, but in a quiet moment that's arguably more powerful than any dramatic twist. Her future with Dr. Kirkland is at stake. The question of whether he's willing to defy society's expectations to be with her is no small matter, and Peggy, dignified and strong, isn't willing to settle for half-love or secret arrangements. She's come too far for that. She deserves more, and she knows it. Yet, amid all these personal struggles and silent reckonings, the ball continues. The music swells, the laughter echoes, the facade holds, for now. But the atmosphere is heavy. Every elegant movement on the dance floor is undercut by the knowledge that something is coming. Something big. A reveal, a betrayal, a collapse. No one knows for sure, but everyone feels it. You can see it in the glances exchanged between rivals, in the hushed voices behind fans, in the hurried footsteps of servants racing down corridors. It's as if the very walls of the ballroom are waiting to witness history. Bertha's final move tonight isn't about fashion or music. It's about control. If she can survive the fallout from her defiance, she'll be unstoppable. But if the old guard decides to strike back, if they unite against her in retaliation, she may find herself alone, more vulnerable than ever before. And what's most thrilling and terrifying is that Bertha knows this. She's not blind. She's chosen this path deliberately. She believes that what she's built is stronger than tradition, that new money, when wielded with enough force, can bury old power. But belief and reality don't always align. And as the final hour draws near, the question remains, has Bertha gone too far? As the ball pushes deeper into the night, a subtle shift begins to take place. The initial glamour and excitement give way to tension. Stiff conversations, long silences, and eyes darting nervously across the room. Guests sense it before they understand it. Something's unraveling. The ball, designed as a celebration of Bertha's victory, is slowly becoming a mirror, reflecting the consequences of every choice, every grudge, every ambition that's been let loose this season. No one is safe now, not Oscar, not Marion, not Peggy, and certainly not Bertha. Bertha may have built this spectacle to prove a point, to show the elite she belongs, but even she looks unsettled now. Her earlier confidence has thinned into a tight smile. She's watching her guests closely, and she's not imagining things. Mrs. Astor's absence from the early part of the evening has already cast a shadow. Whispers about the snub have circulated from corridor to corridor. But just when it seems like Mrs. Astor will deliver her final blow through absence alone, the doors part, and there she is. The Queen of New York society has arrived. Late, calculated, cold. And with that single entrance, Bertha's grip on the room begins to slip. It's not that Mrs. Astor does anything dramatic. She doesn't throw insults or storm out. No, she does what the old elite do best. She lets her presence do the damage. People begin drifting away from Bertha's side. Conversations shift. Some guests reposition themselves to be seen with Mrs. Astor instead. The divide is real. It's not a violent fracture. It's quieter, more lethal. The kind of social rejection that ruins reputations without leaving a single public scar. Bertha senses it. She feels the temperature drop, but it's too late to reverse course. She made her bed, and now she must lie in it, with the whole city watching. And still, Bertha doesn't flinch. Not fully. She stands tall, commanding, refusing to retreat. This is what makes her such a fascinating figure. Even when her plans begin to backfire, even when the society she fought to dominate turns icy, she doesn't crumble. But the question remains, can willpower alone protect her from what's coming next? Meanwhile, Oscar's collapse inches closer to the breaking point. His reconnection with his former ally, whom he once used and discarded, doesn't go the way he hoped. In fact, it becomes clear that Oscar's charm, once his greatest weapon, no longer works like it used to. People are wiser now, less forgiving. And in a room full of social predators, Oscar finds himself exposed, vulnerable, alone. The conversation between Oscar and his former flame, whose heart he once shattered, is painfully subtle. There are no screams or slaps or dramatic exits, but the sadness is suffocating. Oscar tries to act unaffected, delivering lines with a hollow grin, but it's obvious he's breaking. This is a man being quietly rejected by the very world he tried so hard to manipulate. He doesn't belong anywhere. Not in the old money circles who fear his secrets, not in the emerging social class that has no use for hypocrisy, and certainly not in the heart of someone he hurt and never truly loved. The finality of that rejection crushes him more than any scandal could. It's the realization that maybe, for the first time, no one is going to save him. And maybe no one wants to. Marion, on the other hand, begins to make some of the most subtle yet powerful moves of the night. While the other women vie for attention and influence, Marion chooses stillness, clarity. Her storyline, often quiet compared to Bertha's thunderous rise, suddenly feels just as important. She's no longer reacting to others. She's observing, deciding, shedding the expectations others have placed on her. There's a moment where she catches sight of Bertha, alone for a second, disconnected from the crowd, and instead of offering pity, Marion offers understanding. The silent exchange speaks volumes. Two women from very different paths, each battling the limitations placed on them by the world they live in. For Marion, this night cements something deeper than romance or rebellion. It gives her resolve. She may not have Bertha's wealth or Astor's influence, but she has clarity. She sees the ugliness beneath the glitter, the manipulations, the fear, and in recognizing it, she begins to free herself from it. What comes next for her isn't about finding a man or securing a marriage, it's about choosing her future for herself. Something that, in a world like this, is more revolutionary than any social debut. Then comes Peggy. Her story, layered and emotionally rich throughout the season, hits a moment of quiet truth. Dr. Kirkland finally confronts the choice he's been avoiding. And it's not dramatic, not in the way Bertha's battles are, but it's far more human. He stands in front of Peggy, awkward, unsure, stripped of his polished charm. He doesn't beg, he doesn't promise the impossible. But what he does offer is honesty. He tells her the truth, that he's terrified, that the world may never accept their relationship, that he's been hiding behind fear and convenience. But he also tells her something else, that he doesn't want to let her go. Peggy listens, calm, thoughtful. She doesn't swoon. She doesn't forgive immediately. Because she knows love isn't enough, not here, not now. But there's a shift. A door cracked open. And even if they don't walk through it together yet, the possibility exists. That small flicker of hope amidst the uncertainty is what makes their storyline resonate so deeply. It's real. It's raw. It's earned. And then, just as the night begins to wind down, the whispers start. At first, no one understands what's happening. A glance, a word, a piece of news quietly shared between two guests, then spreading like wildfire. The cliffhanger is here. And it's not what anyone expected. A scandal, a betrayal, a loss. It sweeps through the ballroom like a cold wind, chilling everything it touches. Suddenly, the music feels eerie, the laughter forced. The ball is no longer a triumph, it's a storm. Bertha hears it too. Her eyes lock with someone across the room, someone who shouldn't be here, or maybe someone who came for a reason. And just like that, everything shifts. The consequences of every decision she made this season come crashing down in a single moment. And as the crowd begins to react, some in shock, others in glee, Bertha does the one thing no one expected. She walks forward, into the scandal, into the fallout, unflinching. Because Bertha Russell didn't come this far to run, and even if this is her downfall, she'll face it standing tall. The ball is over. But the silence that follows is louder than any orchestra that played that night. The grand hall, once filled with laughter, gossip, and glittering gowns, now feels like the aftermath of a battlefield. The social war that Bertha Russell ignited this season has left a wake of broken alliances, bruised reputations, and fragile futures. And as the servants begin clearing the remains of the celebration, the characters we've followed all season stand on the edge of something entirely new. Something dangerous, uncertain, and irreversible. Bertha, who had spent the night balancing power and grace, no longer has the luxury of pretending. The news that spread during the final act of the ball hit its mark with surgical precision. Whether it was a scandal she thought buried, a betrayal from someone she trusted, or a carefully timed attack by Mrs. Astor and her allies, the result is the same. Bertha is exposed. The mask is slipping, and her face, usually so composed, so unreadable, reveals for just a moment the weight of it all. But here's the thing about Bertha Russell. She doesn't break. She bends, maybe. She stumbles, yes, but she doesn't fall. Instead of panicking, she takes control of the narrative. She begins speaking with the right people, rearranging her alliances, sending a message that she's still the one pulling strings, even if she's bleeding. And that's what makes her dangerous. Because while her enemies are celebrating what they think is her downfall, Bertha is already planning her next move. Her war with Mrs. Astor may have taken a hit tonight, but it's far from over. In fact, it may have just begun. Oscar, however, isn't so lucky. His secrets, long buried under charm and manipulation, can't hide anymore. There's no mistaking the look in his eyes at the end of the night. A man who finally realizes the consequences of a life built on deception. The whispers about him have turned into conversations. There are consequences now. And unlike Bertha, Oscar has no backup plan, no fallback. His once loyal allies are now keeping their distance, Even his own family can barely look him in the eye. And the most painful part? The person he hoped would offer him redemption walks away without looking back. Oscar isn't just alone, he's invisible. And in this society, that's worse than scandal. That's exile. Marion, though, walks away from the ball with something she didn't have before. Clarity. She's seen what power does to people, what society expects from women like her. And she's made a decision. Not loudly, not publicly, but firmly. She's done letting other people decide her worth. She's done chasing approval from people who don't even see her. Whether it's love, independence, or something else entirely, Marion is going to find it on her own terms. And when she leaves the ballroom, she does it with her head high, not as a pawn, not as a bystander, but as a woman stepping into her own. And then there's Peggy, quietly revolutionary. While everyone else is caught in scandals and ego battles, Peggy ends the night with dignity. She has been pushed, tested, and underestimated this season, and she's emerged stronger. Dr. Kirkland may have found his courage too late. Or maybe, just maybe, Peggy's story isn't about who chooses her, but about what she chooses. In the final moments, she walks away from the chaos with calm assurance. Whatever comes next, she's ready, on her own terms, without apology. As for the rest of the city, it's already buzzing. By morning, the papers will be filled with headlines. The ball will be dissected in every parlor room, judged by those who weren't even invited. Some will say Bertha failed. Others will say she shook the system to its core. But one thing's for sure. The Gilded Age will never be the same. And that cliffhanger, yes, that moment that left jaws on the floor, leaves one burning question. What now? Will Bertha rise from the ashes or be cast out for good? Has Oscar finally reached a point of no return? Will Marion and Peggy take control of their stories in a world that's never allowed women to lead? And Mrs. Astor, has she truly won or simply delayed the inevitable? The finale doesn't give us all the answers. It leaves us in that perfect, frustrating, thrilling space of wanting more. And that's exactly what a season like this should do. It gives closure to some arcs, cracks others wide open, and hints at a storm coming even bigger than what we've just seen. Because the Gilded Age isn't just about dresses and dinners, it's about survival, about ambition and identity and power in a world that never stops watching. And in this season's final act, that message is clearer than ever. You can play the game, you can even win, but no one gets out untouched